So, good day everyone. I am Rochelle Verana from VSTM and I'm going to tackle about the lesson 9, managing and caring for the self. So, first is knowing your limits. As mentioned earlier, one cannot really make any significant advancement in using metacognitive skills without having an honest and accurate evaluation of what you know and what you do not know. Knowing your limits also looks at the scope and limitations of your resources so that you can work with that you have at the moment and look for ways to cope with other necessities. The second is modifying your approach. It begins with the recognition that your strategy is not appropriate with the task and or that you do not comprehend the learning experience successfully. Recognizing, for example, that you are not understanding what you are reading, you should learn to modify your strategy in comprehending your material. You might want to read and reread a page in 5-minute interval instead of trying to finish the material in one sitting. You may want to make a summary or code for yourself instead of using keywords or highlighting sections of what you are reading. Number 3 is skimming. This is basically browsing over material and keeping an eye on keywords, phrases, or sentences. It is also about knowing where to search for such key terms. For example, you might want to look at the introduction first or the abstract. The table of contents can also provide you with a quick guide to the contents of the book. Introduction paragraphs, heading or subheadings, and conclusions can also provide you with an overview of the whole material. This technique works best when you want to get an idea about the contents of a reading material. When you are trying to read through several materials in a limited time frame, or when you want to focus on certain details, among others. The number 4 is rehearsing. This is not just about repeatedly talking, writing, and or doing what you have learned, but also trying to make a personal interpretation or summary of the learning experience. One of the fun ways to do this is by imagining yourself being interviewed about your task as you try to convey what you have learned from the resources. You also insert your opinions or other personal take on the matter. Just be sure that the key concepts are well understood and are still in line with the source material even with multiple rehearsals. The number 5 is self-test. As the name implies, this is trying to test your comprehension of your learning experience or the skills you have acquired during learning. While some materials already come with tests like this book, you can still create tests for yourself. You can make essay questions or definition of terms tests while you are reading or watching a material. You can challenge yourself in completing a task successfully, maybe in a given period of time. As you may have noticed already, the goal of metacognition is for the students to be a self-regulated learner. Education should not be limited by the capabilities of the teacher, the content of school textbooks, the four corners of the classroom, and the duration of the academic year of courses. You should have the capability to study things on your own as well as accurately evaluate your progress. This is one of the benefits of using metacognitive techniques and strategies. Another benefit is the compensations and development of cognitive limitations of the learner because the student is now aware of his or her capabilities. Various researches also shown significant improvement in academic performance in any subject and across age range. The student is also enabled to transfer knowledge from one context into another. So first is make an outline of the things you want to learn, the things you are reading or doing, and or the things you remember. And the second is break down the task in smaller and more manageable details. The third is integrate variation in your schedule and learning experience. Change reading a material every hour and do not put similar topics together. Or try studying English the mathematics instead of English then Filipino together. Also include physical activities in your planning. The number 4 is try to incubate your ideas. First, write your draft without doing much editing. Let the ideas flow. Then, leave your draft at least overnight or around 24 hours. Some even do not look at it for a week and do something else. After given period, go back to your draft or prototype and you might find a fresh perspective about it. Sometimes, during incubation, you suddenly have ideas coming to you. Write them down in a notebook first and do not integrate them into the draft yet. Review what you have written when the incubation period is done. The number 5 is revise, summarize, and take down notes. Then, reread them to help you minimize cramming in the last minute, especially when you have a weakness in memorizing facts and data. Some people are motivated when the deadline is very close tomorrow, for instance, and they just review the day before some evaluation or exercise. If you are not kind of person, you may still motivate yourself and have feeling of urgency at the last minute, but by using the aforementioned techniques. Your cramming need not be a desperate attempt to learn but only as a way to energize your brain as you make a final review of the things you have already been studying for a week or so before. The number 6 is engage what you have learned. Do something about it. On a reading material, for example, highlight keywords and phrases, write your opinions about the matter on a separate notebook, or create a diagram or concept map. Some people also learn best by copying the key paragraphs word for word. You may want to talk for other definitions and compare or constant materials. Use your new knowledge during discussions, just do something about it. As you were reading this topic, were you aware of your metacognitive process? What changes did you feel as you tried to use the metacognitive strategies and skills? We encourage you to utilize and adopt the aforementioned techniques in whatever learning experiences you are about to accomplish and find enjoyment and success in learning. Stress. The American Psychological Association 2017 has this statement about stress. If often described as a feeling of being overwhelmed, worried, or run down, stress can affect people of all ages, genders, and circumstances and can lead to both physical and psychological health issues. By definition, stress is any uncomfortable emotion experienced accompanied by predictable biochemical, psychological, and behavioral changes. Some stress can be beneficial at times, producing a boost that provides the drive and energy to help people get through situations like exams or work deadlines. However, an extreme amount of stress can have health consequences and adversely affect the immune, cardiovascular, neuroendocrine, and central nervous systems. Since stress is inevitable to life, we have to learn how to handle and cope up with it. More so, we have to be familiar with the other approach to a healthy lifestyle, which is self-care. Stress and human response. First is the alarm stage, represents a mobilization of the body's defensive forces. The body is preparing for the fight or fight syndrome. This involves a number of hormones and chemicals excreted at high levels, as well as an increase in heart rate, blood pressure, perspiration, and respiration rate, among others. The second is the stage of resistance. The body becomes adaptive to the challenge and even begins to resist it. The length of this stage of resistance is dependent upon the body's innate and stored adaptation energy reserve and upon the intensity of the stressor, just as any machine wears out even if it has been properly maintained. The same thing happens with living organisms. Sooner or later, they become the victim of this constant wear and tear process. The acquired adaptation is lost if the individual is subject to still greater exposure to the stressor. The organism then enters into the third and final stage. And the third is the exhaustion stage. The body dies because it has used up its resources of adaptation energy. Thankfully, few people ever experience this last stage. And the techniques to counter chronic stress. First is relaxation response. Dr. Herbert Benson, Director Emeritus of the Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine at Massachusetts General Hospital, has devoted much of his career to learning how people can counter the stress response by using a combination of approaches that elicit the relaxation response. This includes deep abdominal breathing, focus on a soothing word such as peace or calm, visualization of tranquil scenes, repetitive prayer, yoga, and Tai Chi. The second is physical activity. People can use exercise to stifle the build-up of stress in several ways. Exercise such as taking a brisk walk shortly after feeling stressed not only deepens breathing but also helps relieve muscle tension. Movement therapies such as yoga, Tai Chi, and Qigong combined with fluid movements with deep breathing and mental focus, all of which can induce calm. And the third is social support. Confidants, friends, acquaintances, co-workers, relatives, spouses, and companions all provide a life-enhancing social net and may increase longevity. It is not clear why, but the buffering theory holds that people who enjoy close relationships with family and friends receive emotional support that indirectly helps to sustain them at times of chronic stress and crisis. And self-care therapy. The one is stop, breathe, and tell yourself, this is hard and I will get through this one step at a time. And the second is acknowledge to yourself what you are feeling. All feelings are normal, so accept whatever you are feeling. The third is find someone who listens and is accepting. You do not need advice, you need to heard. And the fourth is maintain your normal routines as much as possible. Allow plenty of time for a task. And the sixth is take good care of yourself. Remember to get enough rest and sleep. Sleep at least 6 hours and not more than 9 hours. If you are having difficulty sleeping, listen to peaceful or slow music and or do progressive relaxation before you go to sleep. Sleep helps our body heals and strengthens our immune system. Eat regularly and make healthy choices. Skipping meals, particularly breakfast, contributes to fatigue, mood swings, and poor concentration. Healthy food choices not high in simple sugars. Maintain blood sugar level, energy, and concentration of the body. Know your limits and when you need to let go. Some problems are beyond our control. If something cannot be changed, work at accepting it for what it is. Resist the urge to fix the unfixable or try to control the uncontrollable. Sometimes a mantra helps. It is what it is. I just need to accept it. For things within your control, remember that change takes time. If you are holding on and need to let go, journal about it. And identify or create a nurturing place in your home. A rocking chair, a nice view, and a soothing music are important components to a nurturing place. 20 minutes of spending in a rocking chair reduce both your physical pain and anxiety. It is like giving yourself a hug. Music and nature sounds nature our being and lifts our spirits. And practice relaxation or meditation. Go to your nurturing place and listen to guided relaxation tapes. Time spent in meditation or prayer allows your mind and body to slow down and let go of the stress. Take a mental vacation in the midst of stress by relaxing your body, shutting your eyes, and visualizing yourself in your favorite vacation spot or quiet heaven. And escape for a while through meditation, reading a book, watching movie, or taking a short trip. And also the self-compassion therapy. Then the self-compassion praises. And the self-compassionate letter. So that's all guys. I hope you learned something from it. So have a nice day.